What's the ginger?
This is the ginger.
Oh.
This is ginger. Of course, obviously these are onions. See how it's getting kind of black?
And what's this for?
This is one of the main spices, seasoning for the pho soup that I'm making today.
What kind of soup?
Pho. It's the Vietnamese soup. You can do this also in an oven, but I never have done it that way, so I don't know how it's gonna come out. I've always done it outside, open fire. If you don't have an open fire or stove outside, what you can do is turn on the oven and put it on broil. Make sure you open all the windows because it's gonna be smoky. This is almost ready.
What temperature would you put the oven at?
Broil. Broil is broil.
Oh,
There's
okay.
no temperature on it. Light or
How long do you
low
do this
broil.
for?
Until I can tell that you can tell if the oil is kind of coming out of the onion and the ginger. Like this one is almost ready, but I kind of just char it a little bit more, maybe for another minute till everything is kind of black. It does not really burn it, just charring the skin. And I try to remove the skin off of it a little bit if I can, so that the inner part of the onion will get charred and the oil will come out of it. Okay, you probably have to do this maybe for about 5 minutes until you see that the onion is becoming a little bit tender and your ginger also is starting to kind of soften a little bit. And once it's done, we'll bring it inside and I'll show you how to actually boil the soup bones for the pho. Here in this pot, I have the soup bones boiling. This is the first step. You first boil the soup bones, pot of water, until you see this foam on top of it. And then once it has that foam on top, you stop it and you put them on the sink, rinse them off, and put another water on it. And then that's when we're going to start actually boiling the soup bones to make the soup.
Where's that stuff he's cooking outside?
It's over there. We'll come to that later. For now, we just have to remove this.
Let me get closer here. Let's see if I can look at that.
See now this foaming on top?
Yeah.
We have to get rid of that. We have to throw the whole pot into the sink, replace the water.
How long does it just take?
I don't know, maybe it's been boiling for 5-10 minutes. It would just boil quickly, and once the foam is on top, you can just turn it off and replace the water. Excuse me. Gotta do that now.
Don't burn your hands.
Now we're placing it with more water. That's a pot of water.
Where do you get the bones?
I went to Publix and asked for some
Is this regular bones from what?
bone marrow. It's from I would say it's a beef bone. Some places they call them pet bones. The Publix, I guess they call it marrow, bone marrow.
How many you got in there?
I don't know. I probably have about 5 pounds worth
Wow.
of bones in there, and some beef neck bones, just to add more flavor.
What's this soup called?
Pho.
Can you spell it?
P-H-O. The Vietnamese. Now we have a fresh pot of water. And just make sure there's enough to cover the bones. And then we're gonna just keep on boiling that for now. Put it on high. Now let's go back to the onion and the ginger.
How long are you going to boil it for?
Forever. No, it's going to take I usually boil it for about maybe 2 hours,
Wow.
just to really make sure you get the taste out of the bones, because that's what gives a good
Okay.
broth. Now we're going to take the ginger and the onions. What I'm going to do with my ginger is just run it in cold water and just peel off the skin. It will peel off very easily. You don't really need to cut very thick skin, just kind of have the knife go through that, scraping it off. Okay, once you have peeled the ginger, what you're gonna do is cut. Sorry about that. I normally just cut it in half and try to just, with the back of the knife, just kind of split that and set it aside. And with the onions, you just have to wash it a little bit. And then it's okay if it's a little bit burnt like that. And then we're going to put it here on the soup.
You said we're going to cook that for 2 or 3 hours?
Yes, we're going to keep that boiling, but I still have to put the other herbs and spices to it, add it to it, and that's let it boil. We'll get to that. Okay, here we have the herbs that we're going to use to put on the soup. I have here cinnamon stick. The ingredients or the recipe would ask for 1 3-inch, but I like it to be tasty, so I would use 2 of that. And this is what they call star anise. See how it's shaped like a star? Again, the recipe would call for about 5 of these whole stars, so you should have about 10 points. But again, I like it tasty, so I put a little bit more. It will not hurt. And I have some cloves. I have about 2, 4, maybe 8 cloves here, and a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander seed.
What's that?
So, coriander seed.
What's that look like? Is it in a bottle?
Yes, or you can go to any Asian store and they would have that. All of these you will find them in an Asian store. And what I'm gonna do is just put them all here on the stock or the pot all together, and then let these boil. As I've said, I normally boil it for 2 to 3 hours until the the marrows come out of the bone, and then that's when I season it with fish sauce and salt and rock sugar, which I'm gonna show you later what it is. For now, we're just gonna keep it, put a lid on it, and let it simmer or boil for 2 to 3 hours, and we'll come back to it when I'll show you when it's ready. Thank you. Okay, 2 hours later, see now that our soup bone is actually ready. You can see that the marrow is really soft and it's tender. So we're gonna take out the soup, the bones out of the soup stock, and same with the onion. Maybe we could just turn the stove to low. Just keep it quiet. Try to get as much of the bones as you can out of the pot. As you can see, the soup stock is now evaporated, so it's almost just half of the pot. So we'll set this aside.
You throw away the bones?
You can, if you have a big dog, they can have it, but other than that, I would throw it away. Some people like eating the bone marrows. I don't. Excuse me. And I will just add a little bit more water to the stock. If you want to have a little bit more Maybe that should be about maybe 1.5 cups of water. Now what I'm gonna do is season it with the rock salt and fish sauce. This is the rock salt, or rock sugar rather. Sorry. This is what. Ah! You can cut that, right?
Just keep going.
Okay, this is what you need. A rock sugar. You can buy that from Oriental store again, and it comes in a solid big chunks like these. So what I do is kind of cut them into pieces, and it's very hard. So what I do is wrap it in cloth and then hammer it so that I can chop them into small pieces like these. I would start with maybe an inch cube of it, put it on the stock, put it on high again, and I have about 1/4 cup of fish sauce to put in there. And just add a little bit more. As you see, because of the bone marrow, it's very fat. It's very fatty, so you would have a lot of fat on the top. What you could do is after you season it, turn the stove off and let it cool, or put it in the fridge to cool it, and then the fat will just solidify and you can just remove it afterwards, because you don't want to really eat that fat with the soup. I'm just going to season that. This should taste sweet, salty, and you just have to adjust the saltiness or the sweetness of it. Of course, I always taste it, and right now I can't taste the sugar yet or the sweetness yet, so we have to wait until the sugar is dissolved. And kind of adjust that, so I probably need a little bit a smaller one. And you would have to add more fish sauce or salt if you don't want to use the fish sauce, but I find that the fish sauce actually has a better taste, and it gives it authentic taste. And your soup is pretty much ready. If you have eaten a pho in a Vietnamese restaurant before, remember how it tastes like, so you should kind of season it the way you have tasted it before. So for me, it's not quite there yet, so maybe I'll add another tablespoon of fish sauce to it until I reach the.
That's pretty much it. You just keep adding salt.
Just pretty much adding fish sauce or salt and
so you get it to
rock
taste
sugar until you get to the taste you would like it to be.
Then it's
so
done.
it's done. Of course, when I'm done seasoning it, I would drain the soup so that I don't have to deal with all the leftovers. The spices there, so it's just gonna be clear soup. And that's it. We are done. Now getting it set up, ready. It's just, of course, you will need this noodle. It's the rice stick noodle. I always get the thinnest kind, again from the Asian market. What I do is beforehand, while the soup is cooking, I kind of soak it in water just to soften it a little bit. You could soak it there overnight or for a couple of hours while you're cooking the soup, and this would soften it a little bit. I would not use hot water because the soup is hot. When you pour it on the noodles, it would soften it, or if you were in a hurry and you forgot to soak it in water, what I would do is boil water and just kind of blanch the noodles very quickly on that boiling water, because otherwise it will be too sticky and it's not really good to eat. So that's it. You just put it on a bowl and put your.
So you put those separately.
Yes, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna.
So you put the noodles in a bowl and then just put the soup on top of it.
Yes, but of course, just like in any other Vietnamese place, you would have a raw beef, slice of beef, very thin slice of beef. We'll go to that later. I will prepare it. But for now, we're just gonna get the soup ready.